Hi, everyone. We're really excited to tell you and show you a little bit more about Websites V2 today, our next generation website capability. If you could just let us know in the question module that you're able to hear us and see our screen, that would be helpful. All good, got the confirmation. So I'm Allison, I'm VP of Product at RunSignup, and this is Johanna, who is Director of Marketing, and we are going to be talking about websites today. So a quick agenda, we're going to do a quick intro overview of what are Websites V2. You guys have probably heard us talking about it, seen the content coming out in our newsletter and blog over the past week. We'll go into a little bit about why we decided to do Websites V2. A quick FAQ with some basics about Websites V2, and then Johanna's going to do a demo. So she's going to show you how to actually build out your content, how to test out Website V2 for your race website. And then we'll finish up with a quick product roadmap. And then Bob, Elizabeth, and Lizzie are all online as well. They're looking at questions as they come in. The three of them are probably going to be replying with answers, but we have a lot of people on this webinar. We'll go through a couple of the questions at the end, and we will follow up after the webinar if you have additional questions. So feel free to enter them in the GoToWebinar module. We'll also follow up with an email that has slides and links to content after this webinar. So what are Websites V2? Websites V2 is like a huge release that has a lot of different features in it. So just to kind of break down the different pieces of Websites V2, Websites V2 includes a new website builder that has a next generation content management system. So one of the biggest complaints with race websites is like having your content in one place, your menu options in another, and then having that be disconnected from what is actually showing on your website. And so with Website V2, you have this interactive website builder where you're adding your content, you're designing your pages and menu, laying out that full website, and you're seeing things in real time. So it's this really powerful content management system. There are new design and layout capabilities. Several years ago, we introduced the cover page, and that's been such a popular feature on RunSignup. But the cover page is only limited to one page, and also like you need a refresh of what things look like after years, right? And so one of the really great things that Johanna's going to dig into on the demo is showing you all the different layers of design and layout capabilities. And basically what Website V2 gives you is the ability to have cover page design options, but even more enhanced and on every single website page. So you're not just limited to that front end. We've also introduced new banner options. That is banners for both the home page as well as your interior page banner options. Very excited to bring customization there. There's just a new look to the website front end. So it looks like a different menu. It looks like a newer front end design. It's very similar, but it is refreshed and new for Website V2. Website V2 has a lot of new exciting components that you're going to be able to add to your website. It's a mix of data-driven and design components. So we've added a slideshow component. We've added these cool cards that you can feature. You can see that Strava map is the little GIF that I have in this layout here. And there's just a lot of really interesting things that really show the power of having your website integrated with your event data. The image gallery is something that we initially released when you add images to Email V2, and they let you reuse your images across different events. And now with Websites V2, you can actually use the same set of images between your websites and your email marketing. So that is really powerful. It's one of those image management features that's part of WordPress, and now it's available on RunSignup for free. One of the other great things about Image Gallery is we also added a lot of system images. So as you're adding content, you might be looking for an image, and we've got a gallery of professional event photos that you can actually choose from across a lot of different categories. And of course, you've got these same features that we've always had available for free websites that make them so powerful. So still have free custom domain, subdomain hosting. We still have race insights for those built-in analytics and all the marketing integrations like GA4, the Facebook conversion API, they're all like working with Website V2. So why did we decide to build Website V2? It's because we invest in technology. So last year, a lot of our investment in like product features and everything, we're talking about email V2. And behind the scenes, we were working on these other really strategic V2 projects of websites, next generation memberships, which came out last quarter, and then next generation invoicing, which we rolled out about a month ago. And so when we think about websites and email, like why did we focus on those two features to upgrade as kind of our key priorities? And like, I think the first answer is that these are two of the most used products on our platform. So since like the company started, we've had more than 175,000 events create events with websites on RunSignup. And so that's just like a feature that every single event is using, whether or not events choose to like add designs and everything. It's just the high volume. This is what the face of your race is. So it's just a very core feature to our customers. And similarly with email, it's just such a used product. We expect that our customers will send more than 800 million free emails in 2024 after sending over 550 million last year for free. So we want to help events save money. We still have events that are spending money on, platforms like MailChimp, Constant Contact, WordPress, and Squarespace. And with Websites V2, we can really eliminate that website cost. And like that website cost isn't just paying for that hosting, it might also be paying for a developer to spend time doing that. And it lets you reallocate money towards other things that might be strategic for your event or help improve the bottom line. We are trying to help events save time. So Websites V2 are connected to your event data. And so if you have something like a price increase coming up, rather than having to go in and update that in like 8 different places on your WordPress site, you've got these data-driven components that are automatically reflecting when your price increase happens, or when registration is about to close, or how much money your nonprofit has raised. And then, of course, we want to help events make more money. So we're really, really thoughtful when it comes to designing our website. And so like everything is taken care of for your event for free, like having a secure SSL certificate, having a website that's mobile optimized, having a website that's always featuring those sticky calls to action to sign up and donate. So it is truly a website that is purpose-built to make it easy for people to sign up without redirecting them to other sites. And that is ultimately going to help your event make more money. And like, I think one of the ways that we've really summarized this investment in both websites and email is it's trying to give all of our customers MailChimp and WordPress in a single platform, but free and purpose-built for events. So Website V2 is not a new feature. I actually put together this timeline based on like blogs that we've written over the years. And we actually first released Website V2 for tickets in July 2021. So all events that were created on TicketSignup got a Website V2. And with that first release, it was just a single website page. It didn't have all the features and functionality it has today. And you can kind of see along this timeline how we've incrementally added these key features and kind of along the way enhanced the functionality. So we added pages and menus in November of 2021. We released organization websites for any customer to use in May of 2022. In April of 2023, we released new page and homepage banner options. In January of 2024, we were getting ready for this major release of Websites V2, and we released the Strava map component. We got image galleries synced with Website V2 in March of 2024. And then we're really, really excited to finally announce the release of Race Website V2 this month. So it's been a really, really long time that we've been working on this product. And what I want to communicate is that this is a very mature product at this point. There are going to be some things that are missing for races, but it's not a brand new product. And that is why there are so many features and so many capabilities with Websites V2 that we're going to be going over in the webinar today. The other thing I wanted to mention is we've had a great team that's been building this. It's a really, really great team. Matt, Phil, Aaron, and Darren. It's a great balance of people who have a ton of development and architecture experience and a lot of design and WordPress experience, and kind of bringing all those things together to create Websites V2. And I know they're on the webinar, so a huge shout out to them and everyone else who's done all the little things and the infrastructure things behind the scenes of this very high level timeline of features that have come out. So a quick FAQ, just questions ahead of Johanna's demo that we kind of figured were top of mind. So can I test Website V2 while keeping my current race website? Yes, you can enable and disable Website V2 when you go to the settings page. And you can see in this animation that it's just a toggle. And so this lets you're not deleting any of your race website content when you enable Website V2. You can go between them. If you don't like Website V2, you can easily go back and switch. And Johanna will also show how you can build out your Website V2 without even showing it on the front end. So you can actually keep it in draft mode, not show it, just keep your standard race website on, but super seamless and easy to go back and forth and experiment. So how do I move my legacy content over? You're going to need to manually recreate it. So when you go to Website V2 for the first time, you're not going to see all of your race information there. It's not going to bring over your custom content or your pages. You're going to have to go in and do that. And we're going to show you how you can do that efficiently and easily. Again, there is no rush with this. We're not forcing people over to race websites. This is a new product. You can leave your Website V2 in draft while you're adding content and keep your current race website live where people can still sign up. So there's no pressure or rush to make changes right away. And we do think that it is a great opportunity to take time to refresh your content if you haven't in a while. Two of the tools that we've been using a lot as we've been testing out websites are Canva to get images, and then ChatGPT to just help accelerate like getting text. It's really useful. Put in your old content, ask them to refresh it with this year's details. I've found that to really speed up the process. When I create a new race, we'll automatically get a new website. It's not going to get Website V2. It's still going to have a legacy website. Website V2 for creating new races is going to come later. Is there any reason why you wouldn't want to switch right away? As we said, this is a very mature product, but there are a few gaps for races now, and I just wanted to point them out ahead of time. So the first big one that we're working on right now are the event tiles. It's not currently a component, and that's kind of the key one for a lot of our events to be able to switch over to Website V2. The header slideshow from cover pages is not available, and the fundraising leaderboard component is not available. The donation goal is. You may not want to be doing that toggle back and forth between the legacy and Website V2 if you are having a lot of traffic, just because it might throw users off. But as you saw, it's seamless, like no harm. You can go back and forth easily. I just wouldn't do it if you're like opening registration or having a price increase. And with that, hand it over to Johanna to demo Website V2.
So I'm going to get out of the slideshow and take you over to a couple of demo events. I'm very, very excited to get to see this in action. So I hope you guys are going to have fun. The first thing I'm going to show you is if you have an event, what's going to happen, how you go ahead and actually start working on your Website V2. Right, you're going to see that in your menu items under Race Websites V2. Eventually, this is going to move out to be its own menu item, but for now, while it's still in beta, it is here. There's just two options on this. Right here, I am on website settings, and this is what Allison showed you to toggle on and off your website. I can just turn this on. Right now, this is the page that I have here. That was an old cover page. Turn on Websites V2, and it's going to switch to this here. This is obviously blank because we haven't built it out much yet, so you would not want to actually toggle it on yet. But now that I've seen that, I can go back, turn it back off, save, and it's back to the old website. No harm done. One thing that's pointing out here is that you can come in and go to Website Builder with that disabled. So you can work on all of this in the back end while it's disabled. You don't have to have it live. So now that you come in here, when you go to Website Builder, if you're first getting into Website Builder, it's going to look exactly like this. So it's just going to pull in some default information. And what this is key race details and information that we think every race should have on their homepage. It's okay to delete some of this if you know you're including it in other ways. Like this right here, this information component is going to pull automatically from your race description. So whatever you put in your race description, your race website, it's going to show that right on the website there. If you know that you're putting in your description in a different context on the homepage, you can delete that. But it's good if you're deleting these to kind of pay attention to what they are, because they're here for a reason, and that's because we know that most races need to have these available. The first things that you can look at here are going to be under theme options, and these are going to look pretty familiar. They're going to look a lot like what you saw previously on your theme options on an old website. So first, we'll go to logo. If you have a logo on your legacy website, that should actually already show here. If you do not have one on your old one, or you're creating a new website, then you just go to choose a new image, and you can upload one there and save it, and that'll create your logo for your page there. Second one we'll look at here is going to be color scheme. Like with logo, this should pull over the color scheme that you had on your legacy website. But you can also customize this. If you've never done this before, you could pick from these themes that we have preset, or you can go into a custom color scheme and you can actually update each of these colors. You can move down here between different types of color codes, or if you don't know what your color code is, you can also just use this little eyedropper, drop it over your logo, and it'll pull in the exact color that you're hovering over there. So we're just going to keep that on blue default, save. The next option here, there is still one thing you might have to do. We're going to look at this homepage banner, and you see this alert here. This is on because I have a cover page currently enabled, and I can't create a homepage banner with the cover page enabled. So for that one, I'm just going to go back to my menu and disable cover page. And then I can come back into Builder. So if you're doing that, that's one of the places where I would say, if you have, you think you're going to have traffic, I would wait to do your homepage banner until last then, so you can keep that cover page on as long as possible before you switch over. Now you're going to come in and go to your homepage banner. And there's a couple of options here. So the first thing we're going to do is add a banner, and this is going to be just like your banner that was on your cover page. Just going to add this in here, size it the way that I want, and then click save. And we'll look at these different layout options here. So the first thing that we're going to see is the default layout, default option. Oh, I didn't, sorry. I did not enable Websites v2. So go back. Websites v2 is enabled. This is going to be your default banner image, and it's just going to show the website, the information about your event right over this image that I added there. Go back to homepage banner. If I want to change this to a stacked layout, it's going to take that race information and just move it down below the image there. Stacked layout is what you're going to want to use if you have an image that has text on it. Like if you have an image that has text in the image and you want to make sure that text is always readable, then this is the layout that you're going to want to pick. The last one is a new option under Websites v2, and I think it looks really nice. You can do a full height layout. And when you do that, that's actually going to extend the image over top of the menu. This doesn't have a menu on here yet because we haven't created any pages, but you'll have menu options that'll show up here. So it'll take it all the way up to the top of the page. The last thing that you can do on your homepage banner is these text options below. So these are options that pull in your default banner name, date, and location that pull directly from your race information. You can customize those. So if you have a virtual race and you want to say that the event takes place everywhere instead of wherever you had as your initial location, or if you want to change the banner, the date, so that it covers an entire race weekend instead of just the start, you could do August 10th through 12th. So any sort of custom text that you want there, you can add there. Or if you don't want them to show at all, you can just hide them so there is no text overlaid there. That's maybe an option you want to do if you have something in text on the actual image, or if you know you're putting this information elsewhere on your page. The last option I'll show you in theme options here is page banner. So what page banner does is it puts another banner option for every page that isn't your home page. There's a couple of different main options here. So you can add a background image like we had on the other one, or you can just have a blank background color that'll show up. If you disable the background image, it'll just be a color. And you can add, again, the same race information, custom dates, names, locations, or you can just disable the banner and not have a banner on any of your other pages. So if you do that, they just won't have that bar that you currently have on your website pages that has all of the race details. Last thing on theme options is website footer. This is just the footer that shows up at the bottom of your website. If you have any custom text that you want to add, like produced by the best events, that's now going to show on your footer across all of your website pages here. From there, I'm actually going to jump over to an already created website to show you kind of how this all comes together into a full website. What we did is to build this off of an old V1 legacy website. This is about 53 pages of content. And so just, as an example of how much you can kind of build out and how large your website can be, there's a ton of different stuff you can build. First thing I want to show you how to do is how to copy content if you just want to copy over exactly what you had in your old website. So I'm going to take this page that isn't on here yet from my old website and go ahead and recreate that here. I will kind of walk through this page system a little bit later, but I want to show you the actual copying currently so that you can see what you need to do on each page. So if I want to take this exact content, I'm going to save this image. And then I want to save this image so I can pull them over. Come in, add a new section, add some text. And I can just copy this, paste it in. And the really nice thing is all of that formatting is still going to exist there. I can also then come in and add this image. So I'm going to pull this image that I just saved straight off my desktop. But I could also, if I had used this image elsewhere on my website, I could also just come up to image gallery here and I would be able to find this image from where I'd previously found it. One thing that's interesting when you're uploading here, you'll have an option over here for albums. So if you know you're uploading a lot of the same things, you can create different albums. So I did a lot of logos. So I created all those in their own folder. And that just makes it a little bit easier if I wanted to find those images to come directly into logos here. So you can kind of play around with images here and making sure that if you name them clearly and you put them into a correct folder, that'll help you find them later. All right, save this. And I did not add logo. You have little options here for center, left, or right. Original, that's going to be the original size of your file, or you can do a half screen or a full screen size. And then if I save this, I can now, I have to refresh this. Come in, and this is the content exactly as I had it here. Sorry, can't find it. There you go. Exactly as we had it there. This matches. The nice thing though is like you could just do that. You can come in, you can copy exactly as you had it, but you can also then actually update the content and make it look a little bit nicer this time. So what I actually did with a lot of these that are in here is I didn't keep that exact same formatting. Sorry. I moved around some of the options that were on there. And so now instead of having a single column all the way through, you have some buttons, you have some 2-column sections, you have a little slideshow down here. So you can just copy exactly as is, or you can actually make things look a little bit nicer as you're doing that. So now we're going to dive directly into exactly how you are setting up your menus and your options on your page. So to build out your menu, you kind of want to think about this as an organization system. So you're going to have limited number of things that can go up top because only so many things can fit up there. If you have too many, they'll go under more. So you want to fit as many as you can under drop downs that kind of put things together in a logical context. So all of these are just you're going to organize your content into things that are similar and belong together here. To create those little menu options drop downs, you're just going to go to the navigation, add a new drop down. And now you can title this whatever you want. So we'll say event notes. If you are still preparing this menu option and there's no content under it yet, you can hide it in navigation so it doesn't show yet. And that way you can work on it on the back end and it won't show on your website, even if your V2 website is live. Now that I have created that, that's going to show up. Sorry, this is in the way. At the bottom here, it's going to automatically create a new page there. You can come in, save. This will save as you click out of things, but it doesn't save automatically as you're doing things. So in case you accidentally close a page or such, I think it's a good process to save in between, intermittently anyways, just to avoid losing work. You can just come to this new page here and start working from here. If you want to do that, then you can go to the settings gear here and change the title on this to updated information. And that will let you start working on that page. There's a couple of different types of ways you can add pages and content here under this dropdown. And one of those is to go ahead and add a system page. System pages are pages that are automatically created in SignUp. And so these you actually don't fill in the content for. The content is already automatically created. So you're going to come in and you have a couple of different options here. What these options are may depend on what you have in your website. So if donations aren't turned on, you won't see a donate option there. If you don't have results, any result sets, that won't be an option there. So you will depend on what you have on your website to see what's here. But once you have them set up, you can pick which one you want. I can say, let's go to donate. That's going to automatically update the page title, although I can change it if I want to say give today. I can change the title there. All these pages can be hidden in navigation, or you can choose to publish it at a future date. So if you have donations are opening up at a date, 2 weeks down the line, you can actually change this date here so that it won't be seen until then, and then it'll automatically appear. You don't have to remember to come back in and turn it on. Apply this. And what you'll see here is that you can't actually do anything on this page because this page is automatically created. It's going to look just like this. And you're going to edit any of the information on here in the actual donation options on your dashboard, not in the website builder. You can also add an external URL. So if you want to link to a running club instead of just this, then you can come in, change the title, add that URL, and you can choose whether you want it to open in another tab. So if you're sending people to another website, often it's best practice to open that in another tab so they don't lose their place where they were on your website. If you're linking just to somewhere else on your website, you may not need to do that. And then the really fun stuff, how we actually create a page. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a page, and what's going to show up here is my options for a new page. Discounts. So that's the title there. Page meta description. This is a really neat piece of information you can fill in just to help Google to understand each of your pages, and that'll help make sure that people are finding not just your website, but the right pages with the right information when they're looking for your event. So it'll let you build that without filling that in, but if you have really important pieces of information and content you think people may want to find, you can do that there. If I come in and I realized, oh, I had this under event notes and that's the wrong place, I can actually just change my drop down here, or I can leave it just where it is and it'll stay in the exact same place. So coming onto your actual page, there's basically 2 areas where you're going to add content, have style options. The first one is a section, and I'm going to actually jump to a real created page so that you can see how this works. I'm going to go up to our home page and show you how these sections work. So a section is basically a container. and the container for what we call a component. And so some sections like this just have one component, just has one little thing within this whole section here. Some sections are going to have multiple components. So this section here has 2 text components and 2 card components, and they're all on the same section. You can kind of tell because this section I have is a specific color. So it's all kind of blocked together. And what that does is it allows you to create different types of styles on your website. So when you have a section, you're going to have a number of different options that come with that. Any of these sections are going to have a URL published. You can hide and publish the date there. And then what we come into is the actual style options. So you have options for restricted width or full width, padding. Padding is going to make larger spacing around the edges of that section. If I go to restrict width, you see a few more options come up, and that's going to be rounded corners or border on your image. The last one is section height, which I'll really talk about when we get to using images as background. But to show you a little bit about how each of these kind of impact, we have a couple of versions of this homepage here. Now you can kind of see how different things are set up. So if we go to the main homepage, you can see how this is what a restricted width would look like with rounded corners. This page here has a mix of different types of styles. So this section was restricted width, this section is full width. You go back to restricted width. You can see kind of how they flow through each other. You can also set that up so it's all just one big wide website and it goes all the way across for each section. This looks a lot stylistically, a lot more like cover pages. They tended to be kind of all the way across with these blocks like this. So if you want to match your old cover page, full width tends to give a little bit more of that look. You can also come in and make all of it restricted width. These also have little borders on them, you can see. So if you want to kind of pop out your sections a little bit more, that'll add a little border around your section there. And that's going to give you a really different look and feel. So once you've got, the last thing you can do on your sections, you can just add a color background. That can be no color, it can be any of the colors in your theme, or you can add an image background. If you add an image background and you're putting something like text on it, then you may want to make sure that it's visible. So if I've added this as a background image for this section, and I want to make sure that text is visible, it's going to give me a few other options there. So now it's going to ask me if I want an overlay color. So if I'm going to have text over this, I want to make sure it's readable. I could maybe add a dark overlay color, and that will just make the image a little bit darker to make sure that the text can be seen. If there's nothing over it, you can also turn off the overlay color. You can go back to just your regular color option. Once you have a component or a section created, you're going to be able to add components. So your section can be either 1 column or 2 columns. If you're going from 1 column to 2 column, that has to be 2 different sections. And you can build out, as many sections as you want. You're going to be able to move content between a section or move sections. So if I'm going to go with a single content component, we'll go through what the main content components are. So some of these are going to be pretty obvious. Text is going to look exactly like you would expect. Text is going to come with a little builder here so you can see headers. The nice thing that's nice about this that was not possible before is so you can change a header and text, but you can also customize the size. So if you want to have a paragraph text, but you all want it to be a little bit bigger, you can play with the sizes here too, as well as the justification, bullets, any sort of actual customization that you want on the actual text. Next component that we'll look at is going to be buttons. So a button is going to work exactly like you would expect. You're going to go ahead and just update a button. If you've used cover pages, this will look sort of familiar. You have options that are automatic, like you can go to one of these system pages, or you can put in any website that you want. Oops, that's wrong order. And that'll create a button there. Again, you can choose it to open in the current window or in a new window. You can change the color, center it, right, exactly like you'd expect. The next one I'll show is an interesting one. This is called cards. And so I know Allison mentioned that event tiles don't work currently. This is one of the workarounds for event tiles. The other one is buttons that I just showed you, is just to have a button that says sign up and put that prominently on your website. Cards, I think, are a little bit of a nicer look. I will note they're made to be mobile responsive, so you have to be a little bit careful when you create them, and make sure that you are testing them on phone and on a desktop to make sure that the size and the image works on both.
And it's just an intermediary solution.
Yes.
This is our number one development priority right now.
If you really need event tiles, just start setting up the rest of the website and wait to turn it on until event tiles come in. If you want to move forward, this works for currently. Cards also work for a lot of other things. They're a really neat component. So what you get is like a little deck here. You can add up to 4 in a row there. And when you click into one, you can add a little header image here. You can customize all this text here. And you could add a link for the whole card, or if you don't, you add a link here, then you can link specific text within the card as well. So you can use this to feature, really, a set of different interesting things, like, I don't know, fun places to visit in your town while people are there for your race. It's just a really nice visual component beyond being used, for a workaround for event tiles. Countdown clocks, this will look familiar to you. If you had a cover page, this was also an option there. When you add one, you're going to get these options here, so you can set it to start for the event start time, for when the event's over, registration starting or closing. So kind of whatever time range it is that you are really interested in highlighting, you can add those there. So I'm going to switch pages here. And slideshows, these are really nice. I think they look really nice, and they give you an opportunity to highlight a lot of photos. If you have a really good array of photos, the more you can use on the website, the more you can drive home how fun and exciting your event is. This is going to work just simply. You're going to add slideshow component, and then you can start adding images one at a time. So it'll let you add up to 10 different images for each slideshow. The next one we'll go over is probably my favorite because it's fun and interactive, and that is the Strava maps. So if you want to have a nice way of showing people your course maps, let people kind of see what they're going to be running, these are built with Strava. So this component is going to pull up looking exactly like this. All you're going to need is a route number for a Strava route. You have to have, I believe, a premium, one of their accounts on Strava to create routes. But once you do that, you can create any routes in Strava that you want, or you can get them from someone else who's built them. Just copy this number at the top, and then you add this to the Strava route ID here. If you have a club as well that has built this race or this route, then you can actually add that too, and it'll also add an option to link to that club, so you can promote your Strava club a little bit there. And then when you save that,
I love watching these.
Yeah, these are so much fun. It'll show you the actual map. It'll show you the elevation profile here. You can change the view here if I want to see satellite, and then you can actually play it so they can do like a little flyover of your course, and it gives people just a really fun look at your course map there. So I think that's a really nice way to display all of your courses in a kind of interactive way. Last one that I'll go over that's actually on here is YouTube videos. So I think this is really useful for FAQs and providing information to your participants. So what we've built here is a little bit of an FAQ with some buttons and then some YouTube videos. And these are how-tos for things like how to manage a group, how to change your registration, or transfer your bib. And that way it's all on your website, and participants can find it easily and they don't have to email you. Where I got the ones that are on here is on our RunSignup how-to page. So you can go through the how-tos for runners on here, and then you can just find, link to these actual full pages. Or if you like these videos here, you just right-click, copy video URL, And then you're going to come into the YouTube component. I will say I usually just paste the whole link. You'll note that the video goes away because it doesn't want the whole link. Just delete that part and keep that code at the end. And now that is added to the website. And those, then you come up here. It's going to have the YouTube videos right on your site there. There's one other, or two, okay, so I lied. There's three other ones that I want to show you that actually don't exist on this website. I think are worth noting because they're good, interesting components. The first one is going to be photos. So if you add this, it'll actually pull in your photo albums from your photo section right on that page. So obviously you can still link to your photos page, but if you want to have at the bottom of your home page all of your photos showing up, it'll pull in the albums from that photos there, and you can use them a little bit more dynamically on your website. The second one is donation thermometer. This is going to work just like cover pages. It's going to show a real quick view of how much you've raised compared to your goal so that you can, encourage people to donate more. And the last one I actually can't show you because I don't have this turned on here, but you can add sponsors. You're going to see it doesn't show up here because I don't have sponsors on this race right now. But if you add that, it's going to pull in a quick, easy way for you to link to all of the sponsors that you've uploaded into your sponsor management. And those will then show on the bottom of your website or on the bottom of whatever page it is that you want to put them on, so you can highlight your sponsors across your website. And I think that was it. Did I miss anything?
I mean, that was pretty comprehensive and a great demo overview of just the power of this. Should I go to slideshow mode?
Yeah.
Of website V2. Did I go on mute for a second and you weren't able to hear me? I might have muted myself for a second. So just real quick, I'll repeat myself, product roadmap. We have these components that we want to get done this summer and this fall. The priority is event tiles, and then we'll do the header slideshows and fundraiser leaderboard. And then we have several other components that we've already started working on and are going to be adding to the rest of this year. One is the multi-event donation goal thermometer. That's going to let you have a goal thermometer for donations across multiple races and ticket events, and it can go over time. So you can pick a date range of when that donation is going to get pulled into the goal thermometer. So that's going to be really powerful for nonprofits that have multiple fundraising events on our platform. We're going to make all those layout options that Johanna showed, like the rounded corners, the borders, all those really advanced layout options. We want to make those in easier to add components so that you can more easily design your website. And then we want to add a nice FAQ component that gets linked to the different features that your race has enabled. So we have a lot of different website components that we're really going to be prioritizing over this next year. So that is one of the main focuses. The other focus are website templates. So website templates are different ways that we can lay out your website based on the different features that you have enabled and the information that we have about your race. And so when Johanna was doing that demo for her simple 5K, you saw how she enabled website V2 and there wasn't really any content there. It just showed the basics of the race description, the location, and contact form. And so website templates are really going to bring in those additional things, like if you have donations enabled, we're going to have the donate button and the donation goal thermometer showing. If you've got results already posted, we're going to have the results tab. So the website template is this combination project of like design element to make it easy to lay out things and make it so that you don't have to spend time creating a website. It's just kind of there for you in a beautiful, unique design, as well as pulling in that content that's based off of how your event is set up. Those are just some early mock-ups of what we're thinking those design layouts could be. We have a component called the event list today, and it's available on organization websites and ticket events right now, and it lets you list all of your upcoming and past events. Past events will show links to results if those are available. So that's really nice for any partner or timer that wants to use our websites today for organization websites. But we want to continue to improve this event list. We want to make it easier to use, make it a pick list to be able to easily select which events you want included in it. We want to bring it over as a component so that you can add it to any race website, so that every single race website can feature your other upcoming events. We have plans to add additional display options. One of them is a calendar, and the other idea is rotating tiles, so you can add that to any page. And it's one of the other things that we really want to do with website templates. So if we recognize that your payment account or your partner account is associated with other events, we're automatically going to feature an event list on your new race website. So that's kind of where we want to go with our website v2 layout options. So Image Gallery is available today, and it lets you share your images both across email and websites for a single race, as well as across all of your different events on RunSignup and TicketSignup. And we're going to continue to extend the image gallery so that it's available in those components that Johanna was demoing, so the slideshow and the cards, as well as your logos, your event logo, and your event banners. We're going to continue to improve the user experience for when you're editing images, and we want to continue to build out our library of system images. We have like probably a couple hundred in there at this point, and they're really great images. If you know event photographers that we can license purchase photos from, email Lizzie at runsignup.com, connect them with her, because we are always looking to continue extending our library of images. We think that it's a great way for events to save time and have great content. We are going to bring Website V2 over to partner partner dashboards later this year, but it is an option for any partner, timer, event management company, nonprofit, any customer to upgrade to an organization website today. An organization website has all the features of Website V2, but it's not connected to an event. It's just a standalone website. So you're not going to have like the things that are event driven, like a donation goal thermometer at this point, but you're going to be able to have those design options. And with our ability to have the custom domain and subdomain, as well as that dynamic event list showing your upcoming and past events, it's a really powerful tool for organizations that want a refreshed partner website or want to stop paying to have their own website. And I think with that, we will turn it over to questions.
I think by far the number one question is my audio working? Is anybody else having this problem? And I think that one's for you, Allison.
Sorry.
I think you've kind of covered this, but it did come up several times in several different ways. Is this the same as tickets and memberships and org websites? And should a partner website move to org websites and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so it's all the same. And like I kind of gave the reasons of our strategy for moving email V2 and website V2. And kind of one of the strategic things behind the scenes of why we're doing this is we're making everything generic. And by generic, we mean shared code. And so it's very efficient for us to have the same website code in all of our core products of tickets, membership, registration, peer-to-peer fundraising, org websites. Because when we add a component that's generic, like slideshows, or we want to fix a bug, we're automatically fixing or adding a feature that enhances every single customer and every single product. And so it is the same stuff that you've seen on tickets and memberships and org websites. So it's a mature product, and it's just going to continue to allow our development efforts to be even more efficient as we continue to invest in event software.
And kind of corollary to that, there's a fair amount of interest in the event list stuff, and that would be available on the membership website.
It will be. So right now, event list is available on organization websites and ticket websites, and we're going to have to do smaller updates to bring that component into membership websites and race websites. The really great thing about that is that might take, a couple hours of somebody's time to bring over. rather than recreating that event list for each of those entity types and having that be like a month-long project for membership, a month-long project for races. So that's a great example of how we've built this in a way that can really let our team scale.
Custom domain, do you have to do anything to switch that over?
No, you don't have to. So you can check out scottcoffeerun.com. That one's already been switched over to website v2. Bob did it himself, so you know there's nothing that you actually have to do.
Yeah, there's several questions in here about, is there any suggestions on moving from the old website to the new website? And the comment I made was, get yourself a big screen and have the old website in one window and the new website in the other window, and just copy and paste and use ChatGPT.
Like I said, I copied 53 pages in a few days and made pretty significant updates with that. I mean, and to be clear, that wasn't full days, that was a few hours here and there. If you have a regular website, it shouldn't take that long to copy things over. And I think it's going to be, A, you're going to have options to make it look a lot nicer, and B, it's going to be much easier to manage moving forward, to not have to go through your lists of old content and remember how to change menus and all of that.
Yeah, and just one additional idea, it's about to be summer break. And so if you know a high school student, this would be a great project for them. You can seriously just hire them, tell them I'll give you $100 per website that you bring over to website v2 or whatever you think the right price is. But like, this is a great project that like middle school, high school kid could do, and it would be like faster.
Yeah,
for them
many
to
of you
do
on this call probably know Brian Jenkins. His 9-year-old daughter is developing websites now on this.
Yeah, we'll outsource this to Lainey. Summer allowance.
I think you got across the point that image galleries available on websites and in email, and it's really cool, and you have folders and stuff like that. Is there sharing of those images between the different events, races that I have? Yeah, and
and Johanna showed that a little bit, but you can choose any folder from any event. It's all tied off of the payment account. So any events that have the same payment account, and that's kind of the security piece of it, like you can't just take images from a random person, but any of the events that you own and have the payment account with, you can share those images.
Going back to the event list, this one just kind of came in, is like, if you've got a big list, how can you show some and exclude some? And yeah,
and it's a bit manual today. It's not the ideal user experience because you're kind of copying and pasting in race IDs and ticket event IDs. And so that is one of our priorities coming up this summer. It's to make that list like exposed so that there's like an intuitive GUI to like select which races and ticket events you want to include and exclude, with easy options to say all and exclude these several ones. So that's one of the key things that we'll be spending development time on.
Multi-language support.
Yeah, that's a huge project. And I think we definitely have that on our roadmap. And, it's something that we would like to get to towards the end of this year. I do think, though, that there are a lot of priorities for website v2. So I think we want to make sure that we get out the components that races need. We want to get out these enhancements to the event list. And we want to get out website templates. And I think those are like these 3 major milestones. And obviously those could go on forever, but I think we've kind of got like, this is our core that we want to do. We're going to grow the number of requests because everyone's going to be using website v2, giving us ideas and feedback. And we always, incorporate that into our product roadmap. But yeah, we definitely want to do multi-language support. We'll probably start with Spanish, maybe French, and it will be on the front end so that we're detecting what language the browser is using, and we'll be able to automatically translate the front end pages.
So website v1, what's the sunset plans for that, and how's that transition work? And
we'll let you know next year. I think for right now, what we want to do is continue to mature website v2 for races. And so like, if you remember a year ago, we had email v2 out and people were starting to use it, and there were all these feature gaps and requests that were coming in, and like, it just takes time to mature a product. And so we want to make sure that people are happy with website V2 and we have everything together there. And then we'll kind of discuss what our migration plans are like long-term for websites and website V2. But I wouldn't say it's a priority this year. The priority is really adding more features and functionality to website V2. And then we'll long-term kind of figure out what our strategy is. But there's so much available with website V2 that we expect a lot of our customers are going to want to start moving over to that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, so the way I think about it is that probably in another 3 months, website V2 will be mature enough that when you go through and create a new race, you're going to be setting up in website V2. And then probably another 3 months of maturation, and then we'll start that internationalization project, which will probably come out, kind of first half of 2025.
Yeah, and I think really figuring out how we're going to handle renewals in website V2 is something that, again, will really mature in 2025.
Yeah, exactly. And as well as just the comment of if I've got a V1 website, we're not going to cut that off for at least several years.
Yeah.
And we'll have some sort of transition plan. We'll communicate that overly effectively like we always try to. Can you move one race over to V2 while keeping other races on the legacy version?
Yeah, you can move over whatever you want, whenever you want. It's just that quick toggle. So go ahead and test it out with, a race that doesn't get as much traffic if you're worried about it, and then plan from there.
This might have become apparent during your demo, but what information appears automatically on a V2 website, like race description and logo and stuff like that?
It'll pull over automatically your logo and your colors, and then the main things that show up on the website is a default banner, which is just a color banner right now, name, location, and date, and then the information that pulls in, I think, is your description, contact us, location, and I'm missing one. There's one other piece of basic information.
Yeah, and then the other thing that automatically pulls over is any system components like results or donation and things like that. Those come over really pretty quickly. Oh, the rounded corners on the content blocks, people really like that. This may be a down in the weeds thing that comes later, but is there support for embed code when you get into the HTML? Can I do my own embeds of things like what you did with Strava?
So we're probably not ever going to allow that just because there's security concerns with what you can add to a website. But like what Johanna showed with Strava, she's embedding like an ID and we're taking care of that code. And that's kind of how we do YouTube videos as well. So a lot of things on our platform that we allow that integration with are things that we build as components. So we'll continue to extend that component library over time.
There are a couple questions, and I may have missed it in your demo because I was trying to answer questions too. Sorry, Johanna. Sponsors component?
Yeah, so I didn't actually show it because the race that I was demoing off of didn't have sponsors set up in their sponsor management system, but that does exist now where you can just pull that up as a component and it'll pull in your sponsors from sponsor management, just like the old one. And those will show really nicely.
And put it on any page.
Yeah.
Approximately when will event tiles be ready? I think that's a question for Phil, huh?
We decided to go vaguely with this summer.
Okay. Let's see. Will the content created on V2 show up in confirmation emails like the custom content is currently?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I would say generally probably not.
Yeah.
The only content that would be in your registration confirmation emails is like standard content like race description and things like that, or stuff that's set in other places of the dashboard. We wouldn't know which content on your website belongs in those emails. I have a 5th annual virtual event scheduled in October being replicated 20+ times. When I hear V2, will make it really easy. However, knowing the timing of the virtual challenge and fundraiser leaderboard modules would really help. Any clue on the timing of those?
We can't give specific dates because again, like software takes time to build. I don't think the virtual challenge component is a top priority for us to get done either because there are fewer virtual challenges being done. I would say that probably the best bet is to just stick with regular race websites. And it's really easy to build out your content for one virtual race using race websites as they are today, and then copy that 20 times. I think that's just going to be the safest bet because you're probably going to have registration open well before October 6th and want those components available. And we can't promise specific dates with adding features.
Fonts, size, and type font.
So size is actually available for both email v2 and website v2. So there's now a drop down. You can select your font size, which is really nice, gives you a lot more customization options than just those headers. Font is something that we've had conversations about, but have not implemented at this time. But probably at some point in the next year, we'll have a limited set of different fonts to choose from.
You can do like italicizing, bolding, any sort of formatting on it, as is.
Lizzie and Elizabeth, let me know if there's other questions I should ask. There was a call for a manual.
Do you think Lainey can get around to doing that for us this summer?
Yeah, my comment back is that, you know, we changed far too fast, and kind of our manual is kind of the blog post with the search capability.
If I were to create a manual, it would be essentially the same content I just put in blogs. So we'll put that in the follow-up in kind of a format of how to find stuff. But I think that's the best bet for following how-to on information.
And then I think the info app team, they do such a great job of keeping our support portal up to date. And so I bet over the summer, what they're going to do is take the content that we've added for the blog and put that into if you click on knowledge base from runsignup.com, they'll update all of that content with website v2 stuff. And as we come out with new features and blog about them, they'll update those knowledge bases. And so I think we've got a really great process of providing documentation. The other thing that we've just spent a lot of time on is making this very user-friendly. And so it's really a point-and-click website builder so that you're not necessarily having to look at a manual. You're just kind of intuitively adding sections, adding content. And so we really hope that, like, as you're starting to play around with website v2, you find it really quite easy to add your content in.
And the usual question of, will this webinar be available? Will the slides be available? Will the Q&A be available?
Yeah, we'll do all that. And then I think probably because there's so many questions for this webinar, maybe we'll take time to do a Q&A blog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometime tomorrow.
By tomorrow. We're not going to finish it today.
Thank you both very much. You did an awesome job.
Well, Johanna did most of the work with the high pressure demo, and I did turn off the volume for a while, so you did okay.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Are these less wrinkly than they were?
Yeah, I ironed them at lunch.
You bring an iron to the office?
Yeah, I had an iron in the back of my car. Just went and grabbed it.
Is that the weirdest thing you've done in the office?
Well, I wouldn't say the weirdest thing.
Did he say anything to you while you were ironing them?
Yeah, he said like and subscribe because we post videos every weekday at 8 a.m. And then he screamed because I ironed his face or something.